Welcome to the Music Journal Podcast, where we talk about the hottest things happening in music right now, and also how you can apply it if you're an aspiring producer or musician yourself. I'm your host, Wes Yee. I'm a producer, artist, and educator, and I'm stoked to be chatting with you. Let's make history. Welcome to another episode of the Music Journal Podcast. So, as most of you know, I am a musician and a producer, and one of my favorite parts of music, and I guess the process of making it, is that it's often a collaborative effort. It's funny, I had a cousin who did a summer thing at Juilliard, which, if you don't know, is one of the more elite classical conservatories, and he was telling me that over there it's all competitive and people would put fucking razor blades between the keys of the pianos to sabotage other people who were just trying to do the exact same thing as them, which I thought was totally fucked when he told me. And in my opinion, it kind of goes against the whole spirit of being a creator. So I'm super stoked to have today's guest on the show because we actually recently collaborated on an album called The Moment Is Forever by Kyle C.E, who has also been on the show, and Kyle Crosby-English, who's here with us today, produced the whole thing. So it's kind of wild because a couple months ago he sent me all the tracks to mix and master and post, and we collabed on this thing. But this is it's really the first time we're even chatting. So Kyle, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing, Wes?
I'm good, man. You're the man for jumping on.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for mixing the album. It was a blessing just to work with you, man.
Dude, it's all about those collaborations, right?
Yeah, it's how you make the best quality stuff, you know?
That's it, dude. I believe that wholeheartedly. So like I said, this is kind of our first time ever really chatting, man. I told everybody, I guess, a little bit about what I know about what you've done and what you do, but do you want to just kind of fill in some of those gaps?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I produced his last album, too, Complex Simplicity, produced the whole 10-track album. He had someone else mix it, I believe, but yeah, it was just, he's really good to work with. He gets the whole, I can produce something, he'll write a song in like a couple hours. It's insane how well we work together. But yeah, Complex Simplicity. I did what was it called? Oh man.
You did two tracks for Token too?
Yeah, there's the 2 tracks for Token. I produced one like. I added some keys to his track Patty Cake. And then a couple of Kyle C.E singles as well. I can't remember the names off the top of the head. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's just a blessing to be part of. 100%.
Dude, you're a young producer who's like fucking killing it right now, man. I feel like anytime I talk to a producer, either on this show or somebody who is working with like a top name producer working with big artists, they're always these old fucking people who have been in the game forever. But how old are you again?
I'm only 22.
This man's only 22, and he's already produced so many songs for Kyle C.E that he can't even remember all of the track titles. I don't know who mixed Complex Simplicity either, by the way. I actually didn't even know Kyle at the time. The way we met is kind of crazy. I want to know, before I tell that story, you want to just let me know how you met him?
Oh, absolutely. So I was on YouTube one night, like 5 to 8 years ago. And I bumped into his song Bell Tower, and I watched the music video, and I'm telling you, right after seeing it, I was like, I have to work with this dude. So I found him on Facebook, and at first I thought he was from Cali or something. I didn't even know he was from Boston, at 20 minutes from where I was. So I hit him up and I told him, and I sent him some stuff. And after that, a couple months later, I produced the track Live Forever for him. So it was really cool. Happened so fast. I was just like, wow.
That's awesome, dude. I think that's a block that a lot of producers hit, where like they want to work with all these artists, but they don't even know how to get in touch with them, or they don't even try to reach out. Like, how did you get in touch with Token too?
Token, I didn't directly get in touch with him. I know his engineer.
Okay.
So because I know his engineer, I'll send his engineer a bunch of ideas and samples. And whatever ones pop out, we'll either work on together, or I'll add some stuff. It just works out the way it needs to. But
the next question is, how'd you meet his engineer?
His engineer, one of my friends paid him to mix some of his tracks, so I hit him up, just trying to get some lessons or whatever. And then I found out he was doing all this stuff. And once he heard my beats, he was like, "Holy shit, you remind me of me."
No way.
It was funny, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's how we started working together.
That's
And
kind of what it is, dude. Like it's about the collaboration of the music too, but at the same time, there has to be that connection, like person to person too. I feel like it's
oh,
really important.
absolutely,
Like he saw some of himself in you, and then you guys were able to vibe that way. I think it's really similar to how me and Kyle Bent met because it was kind of organic as well. Hobson obviously, and like
oh
Joyner,
yeah, yeah.
obviously Token. Dude, I saw them at the Palladium. You ever been over there?
No, I haven't.
You haven't been to the Palladium? It's a venue in Worcester,
Oh wow.
and I went over there like 2 years ago to see Joyner and Token and Hobson mostly. But in the middle of the show, Kyle Bent comes out and he performs a song, and I'd never heard of him before. But I was like, holy shit! Like it was what's the one he has with Joyner? Not Lifestyle.
Uh, we deserve this life.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah. Deserve. He
Yeah, it's
performs
a good
Deserve,
one.
and I was like, holy shit! So I had to follow him after that, and I started following him, and then flash forward maybe about a year. Um, I'm doing a show of my own because I rap and I sing too, but I wasn't doing any of that at that time when I first saw him. But I kind of came out from behind the scenes afterwards. So I'm doing this shitty show on like a Wednesday night, and it's like impossible to get people to come out on a Wednesday night if you're like a nobody or whatever. But I'm there. I'm like, fuck it, I'll do the show. I'm like opening, so it's gonna be whack. But I go, and Kyle's there, and he looks so familiar, but I didn't like register that that was him. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, I'm Kyle. And I was like, "Kyle, like, why does that sound so familiar?" And then it clicked, and then we put it together. And then I realized he was Kyle Bent, the same guy I'd seen at the Palladium like a year ago, like never talked to him or reached out or anything. And then from there, it just kind of spiraled, and then one thing led to another. But it's the whole thing about, I think, having like a genuine connection with somebody that makes it all work.
Absolutely, the dots always connect. It's crazy how everything just aligns naturally.
Do you believe in like karma, like everything happens for a reason, like that
Oh
whole
yeah, 100%. Everything.
like law of
It's the same.
attraction and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, law of attraction. Without that, I wouldn't be where I'm at with the music.
Yeah.
I started so bad I couldn't even play a chord, and then I just stayed persistent with it, and just got to the point where I'm still practicing, but where I am now, I would have never thought I could get to that point.
Well, how'd you start doing music? Like what was the
Um,
process for you? When did you start? I guess is a better first question.
when I started, I think I was like 10 when I got interested in it. And I watched the movie Hustle and Flow. After watching that movie, I wanted to be a producer. So I begged my mom to get me like one of these little cheap pianos, and I got it. And once I got it, I learned that I had something. I didn't know what it was, but
Mm.
I felt something about it, and I kept continuing and continuing. And then years go by, and then I meet this teacher. His name's LaVolta, and he's taught me everything I know now. So definitely grateful for that.
That's amazing, dude. So you didn't start with like classical or like jazz and then go into production. It was like you knew you wanted to
Oh,
be a producer. So
I
you got
started off with
into it
nothing.
quick.
I had no knowledge of anything. I didn't even know what a note was.
No
it
way.
was it was bad.
Do you know like a little bit of music theory now? Is that how you've been kind of able to construct these instrumentals, or do you find knowing that kind of stuff kind of inhibits your creative process?
Um, I think any way of knowing something more is beneficial, but I think I still have a basic understanding of it. I couldn't teach it to someone in a classical way. I just play the circle of fifths and I alter them, and it's simple stuff. I just try to
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the best beats are the simplest ones.
It's true.
I had Kato on
Complex simplicity.
yeah, hey, another name drop. I had Kato on the track on the show, if you know him, and he says the exact same things. And if you listen to like all the modern production, I definitely think it's true. Like the more like empty kind of simple beats are definitely the ones that hit the hardest.
That's true.
What do you usually start with when you make an instrumental?
Me, it's always the keys.
Really?
Always the
Every
keys.
time?
Yeah, every time.
Interesting. No shit. That's wild. Do you usually get like the rhythm first, or do you pick a sound?
Um, it's like a combination. I'll start with the melody, but then once I get the melody going, I'll play a rhythm with the chord, and then I'll add on to it, and then that rhythm will complement the drums, and the drums will complement all the other layers, and it's all on what I choose to do first, and then however I start that comes in conflict with everything else that's added on. It's
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's crazy to me seeing the process of it starting because I do it too. So if I start with like one thing, I'll add like the drums or the bass after. But then based on how I do the drums and the bass, sometimes I go back and I like change the keys or whatever. And then when I change the keys, sometimes I change like something else that's like in it. Do you ever find yourself like changing things that you started with? Like you start
Oh,
with it and it's
many times. There's sometimes I'll make beats. I'll start with something that I won't even keep in the beat. It just like it's like the spark for the beat. It starts the fire. But once the spark's done, you can just push it to the side. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it is, dude. But it gave you that inspiration to
Oh
kind of
yeah.
put that other element that ends up being used.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just play a shitty little melody. It just has a certain rhythm to it, and then I'll add like chords to it that wouldn't even be compatible with it. But it's insane. Sometimes not knowing is what leads you in those beautiful directions.
Yeah.
Having no clue what the hell you're about to make, no plan, just going and seeing where you go.
Yeah, 100%, dude. That's real. I feel like a lot of producers and artists in general, because I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, I have like hundreds of sessions on my computer, but none of them are done. And I feel like that's where people like that get kind of stuck at not finishing because they put something on there that they thought worked in the beginning and then they add something else, but then it doesn't work anymore, and instead of going back and changing it, they just kind of scrap the thing and then start the new project. What would you recommend to somebody who has trouble finishing songs?
Hmm. That's a good question because it's something I go through a lot myself because
Hmm.
how many ideas I have at once. It gets overwhelming sometimes. So I'll end up scrapping a lot of stuff myself. So my advice would be just to build as much ideas as you can, and whatever ones stick out the most, those are the ones you want to finish.
Yeah.
And the more
How
you
do
do
you
that,
how do you
the
know
more.
though? I'm gonna challenge you a little bit more. How do you know if it's just like fucking not even worth it, or if it's something that could have a lot of potential?
Oh man, that's a good one because sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes you'll start something and you'll be like, oh, that would never work. And then all of a sudden you'll listen to it just a little bit differently and you add something that you never would have thought you could add. And it's interesting. It's really like magic.
Mm,
If you think about it a certain way, you're going to get it a certain way, but it's like life too. If you look at it negative, then you're going
mm.
to get it negative. So you just have to trust the process, and then the process brings you something you never could have imagined.
Yeah, that's fucking real, dude. It also kind of makes me think that any song that someone didn't finish could have ended up getting finished and being amazing because of the whole evolution. Like it might start as one thing that doesn't work, but then if you keep at it and keep like hashing away at it, it could eventually turn into something totally different that does work, but it was all inspired by all of the shit that didn't work before.
Sometimes,
Hey, we'll be back in the episode in just 2 seconds, but before that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. So, for all you aspiring producers and artists out there, I can't even begin to tell you how important having a mentor was to me. I would literally not be where I am today if it wasn't for people like Mike Moss, who is a 3-time Grammy Award nominee. He got me my first credit, and Prince Charles Alexander, who's recorded Biggie and Alicia Keys. I wouldn't have been able to continue to grow and progress in my craft if it wasn't for them. So if you've been listening to the show and you heard episode 19 with Kato on the track, you know he's produced for B.O.B., Joyner Lucas, Hobson. He got token viral with his contest before anybody even knew who he was, and he totally blew up. The reason I'm telling you this is because he just opened up a mentorship program that will transition your music from being a side hustle to a career. If you want to learn the secrets from people at the top of the industry, go to bit.ly/TMJ mentor and you can try it for free. That's bit.ly/TMJ mentor.
I feel like the reason I scrap some of the stuff I think wouldn't work is because I'm thinking in a way that I normally always think of. Like, we're all creatures of habit, so the way I produce is a habit itself. So sometimes I'll create something that I would have never made, and I'm intimidated by it, so I push it away when I should have just embraced it and created something new. That's how new styles are created all the time. So
Yeah, that's true. Kendrick, when he put out Pimp a Butterfly, I saw an interview of him recently talking about it, and they were asking him like, yeah, like this came after Good Kid, Mad City, and he was like, well, to be honest, I wish I put out Pimp a Butterfly before Mad City, like instead of Mad City, but he was like, I just didn't have the balls to put it out because it is so much different than everything else. It kind of makes me want to go back to some of my older instrumentals that I've scrapped and see what I can fucking do with them and turn into something else. And I would definitely recommend it to anybody listening too.
100%, man. That literally just makes me want to go into my hard drive, look through all the old folders of just shit beats that I just put into the folder. I don't even.
They might become your best ones, dude. Who knows?
That's true.
Yo,
do you have
a crazy story from just your music career, producing career? Any like inspirational story? They're all across the map always. Like sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're about.
There's been times I've almost produced for Joyner. I almost was part of his last album. It was very close. I sent some stuff to Knox, and then he sent it to Joyner. Joyner was like, "Oh shit." And then I sent them the beat, and then after him hearing it for a couple minutes, he was like, "Ah, nah, I'm good."
No way.
I was like, "Fuck." So close. I've had a couple opportunities where I've almost had the shot, and I didn't.
The thing about it, man, is that there's so many factors to listening to songs. Like with anything, man. Like the first time I heard fucking Awaken My Love, Childish Gambino, I hated it, dude. I didn't like that record at all. And now I love that record. Like I feel like so much of it has to do with like wherever they're in that mindset. So even though the first time you sent it didn't work out because maybe he was in a different place in life where listening to that beat it didn't stick with him right then, he could come back for the next record and be like, oh, like I remember that instrumental that Kyle C sent me, and now I want to use it for this record. So you never know. It could still become a reality, man.
That is true. It works very similar in the creative process too, because you could create something in that moment that you're not really feeling, but if you put it to the side and listen to it later, it could spark up a whole new creative, flow.
Yeah, definitely. What's your take on like I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but have you ever like made a song and then thought it was super dope when you finish it, but then the next day you listen back to it and you're like, wow, this is trash.
Yeah. Oh man, I used to write songs myself before I even worked with Kyle. I used to write raps and sing, and I did it all. But oh man, that happened so many times. I used to get stoned, write a song, and this song is so ill. And then the next morning, I'm like, what did I do? Why did what was I listening to? How much of this was real and how much of it wasn't? It felt like a dream.
It is funny, dude, because I feel like when I'm stoned, I definitely hear music like totally differently, dude. Like whatever I'm on, dude. It's whatever it is. It's like a totally different listening experience. But at the same time, I also feel like if somebody is listening under that state of mind, they're probably going to hear it more similarly to the way I heard it when I made it too.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that. 100%. I've had that experience. I've heard so many songs that were claimed to be made under a certain state, and then under that same state, oh my God.
I used to have some weird shrooms jam sessions. I'll be totally honest, man.
I way back when I was younger, I heard Pink Floyd and Jimi Hendrix on LSD, and the it was insane. It was unbelievable.
Holy shit!
I know they made it on that. There's no question, especially Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I guess that's like how
Wow.
you not trying to tell anybody listening, like go out and do fucking acid and
Oh
shit.
yeah, no.
But I mean, if you want to like get the experience that they had when they were making it, I guess that's how you would get as close as possible, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely a crazy experience. Not for everybody, but
No, definitely not. Yo, so not to be like judgmental or anything, but by looking at you, I can tell that you're somebody who, even before you said that you smoked weed, I could
oh
have guessed
yeah.
maybe. What's
I'm
something
not
that
offended.
what's something somebody wouldn't guess just by looking at you though? Like first impression, like first glance.
Um, that I had brain surgery.
No shit, dude.
Yeah.
What? When did that happen?
So I think I was 4 or 5 when I got the brain
Jesus.
surgery, and I have a disease. It's called Arnold-Chiari malformation one, and at first I didn't know what the fuck that meant, but what it means is it's when the brain goes towards the spine, and at a young age when that was happening, I was it wasn't even a pain, it was just a pressure. And the pressure was so bad that I was curling my toes and walking on them with my body weight.
Jesus, dude.
And it was
Holy
just
shit.
like this weird pressure. But yeah, after a while, the neurologist realized that it was Arnold-Chiari malformation one. They sent me out to Boston, and the guy who did my surgery, his name's Dr. Scott. He did George Bush's niece or nephew, I forgot, but it's crazy. So it's a blessing to be
But
alive.
they fixed you, yeah, dude. Holy shit. Say the name of it one more time. It sounds fucking gnarly, dude.
Arnold-Chiari malformation one.
Oh, yeah,
So
not something I ever wanna have just from the name, dude. Well, yo,
yeah,
dope. I'm glad that you made it through it, man, and are on this show today, dude.
likewise, man. It's a blessing.
Is there a Arnold whatever 2 and 3 and 4, etc. too?
I believe so. I do believe
Jesus, dude.
so. I
That's
just
funny.
think there's like differences in the stages or whatever. But
Do you remember it at all? Like I'm trying to think, like 4 years old. Like you can kind of talk, right? You
I
can.
remember a little bit. I remember like right before the surgery, I gave my mom this big ass hug because I was afraid.
Yeah.
That's really all I remember though. And then I remember waking up in the hospital bed, and it just like this feeling of like felt like I was locked into the bed, but I really wasn't. It was just the pressure of all of it being, done. It was crazy.
Dude, that is fucking crazy, man. Plus, like, it's kind of I don't even know if I like want to say this, but it's like kind of scary. Like your brain, like that's something that they're operating on that literally controls like fucking everything.
Oh
So,
yeah, one little mistake and you're done.
dude, I like misspell words all the time when I'm like writing. I like I fucking like brush my teeth all weird. Like sometimes, dude, like anything can go wrong, dude. I'm about to this is gonna sound so lame in comparison, but I had a wisdom tooth infection kind of recently,
Oh
so
wow.
I have to get that taken out. And the guy was telling me like, yeah, like there's like this like 1% chance that you might like lose all the feeling in like your jaw like forever.
Oh
But he was
man.
like, with me, it's like 0.5% because I guess he's like so good. But I was like, dude, that's still fucking 0.5% of a chance that I can never feel my jaw again. Like that's a serious thing. So I can only imagine what it would be like to walk in there at 4 years old and they're operating on your brain, dude.
That's
That
crazy. It
that's
was
wild, man.
that's when I think that's when I finally realized that we all die. Like I realized that at such a young age. I was like, oh great, I could die from this.
Dude, that is wild, dude. Holy shit.
What? It
Jesus,
is what
four
it
years
is.
old. Yeah, I mean, dude, I guess better sooner than later, right?
Yeah.
Do
Some
you think that's how to play on like how you produce music too, or even like the fact that you decided to pursue producing music?
it,
Because I
it
think that
could.
too, like one life, right? You only YOLO once, so
I feel like if I didn't have brain surgery, I would have done something like football, boxing, or something more physical. So because of all of that, maybe that's why I leaned towards music. I had more emotion to bring out or something. I don't know.
do you
It's
believe in
crazy.
like you believe in like left brain, right brain people?
Um, yeah, I'd say we're in an age where we're all of us are kind of both, but there
Def-
are people that have like a right dominant, left dominant kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it either. I think like one is more like logic, I think, and one is more creative. So I'm wondering like if
Yeah, I
something
forgot.
triggered that made you more on the
That is,
creative side as opposed to, although I think boxing is an art too.
I
Yeah, who
do
knows?
wonder though. That's a good point. I think it's the right side of the brain that's creative, and then the left side that's more technical. But I might have it mixed up.
Yeah, we shouldn't talk about something that neither of us know anything about. Dude, unfortunately, it is like kind of close to our time, but there is one question I ask on every show, and I'm curious, man. If you had unlimited money, no strings attached, what would you do and why?
Oh man, that's a good one. Unlimited money. Hmm. I would. It's a lot. You could do a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Man, I would definitely reduce poverty as best as I could. I mean, if I had unlimited money, I could reduce it within
Right,
a
globally.
day.
Yeah,
So there would be no more poverty. Everyone would be good. No one would have to worry about, oh, I have to pay this, I have to pay that. I, to me, I would take the illusion away from money. It wouldn't be what it is. It wouldn't be a tool or a thing you need, a necessity. It'd just be something that it's like points. But I don't know. I don't even think we need that. I think
mm,
if everyone was kind and everyone helped one another, then money you wouldn't look for something out of. I don't know. If you did something kind, you wouldn't look for something out of it. It would
yeah.
just be doing it just cause.
I
That's the way the
wonder.
world should be.
That's a really insightful answer, dude. I wonder if there'd be more people doing kind things as well because they didn't have to worry about the whole financial aspect of
Oh
it and
yeah,
the money. Um,
I feel that would be the case because when we have that pressure every day, we wake up. Oh, I need money for this. I need money for that. I need to wake up to go to my job. You stop wanting to be nice. You just naturally don't want to do it. You're like, fuck
yeah.
you. I'm going through my own shit. You're going, everyone's just bumping heads when
Survival
that,
instincts kick in and shit, and you
yeah,
gotta like fend for yourself, like
it's like
evolution.
that being in the equation triggers all that 100%.
Dude, we got to do another podcast where we talk about just that for the whole thing because we could definitely do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But yo, for now, this is Kyle C. Part one. Part two will come soon. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you? If an artist needs production work done, maybe they can hit you up.
Oh, well, my Facebook is Kyle Crosby-English if you wanted to search me on Facebook. But my Instagram is at PROD by Kyle CE. So if you can find that, then hit me up if you're interested.
There it is. Dope. Kyle, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you, Wes. It was a blessing.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Music Journal. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you got a lot out of it. If you want to know more about me and what I do, I just put out a personal EP on Spotify. You can go to bit.ly/Wes Yee Spotify. And if you want to know more about music production, I teach an online course about it too. Just shoot an email to wes@homestudiohits.com and I'll send you an application. Just for filling out the application, I'll send you a free sample pack of sounds I use to make the instrumental you're listening to and more. All these links will be available in the show notes so you can check them out there. And while you're there, if you feel inclined to rate this show 5 stars, that would really help me out. Other than that, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks again. Peace.